Good morning, everyone. My name is Imad Malhas, and welcome to Disruptive Innovation. I'm here to talk to you today about a very disruptive innovation called iris recognition. Iris recognition is giving you the ability to find someone from the patterns of their eyes. Something very, very fascinating, and that will keep you looking with an eye on the future. Before I start my talk, I'd like to talk to you about iris itself. The iris is a part of your eye that sits right behind your cornea and in front of the lens. Now, looking a little bit closer at the iris, as you can see in front of you, you will notice that the iris is the colored part of your eye. It is made of involuntary muscles that basically do one thing. They open and close to control the amount of light going into your eye. A very interesting issue here is the pattern that you can see on the monitors in front of you. There is a shape and a lot of details in the iris. This shape was first noticed by two gentlemen, two doctors, ophthalmologists, eye doctors, Flum and Safir. They thought that there is enough information in the eye to distinguish someone. So they took out a patent in 1987. That patent says you can find someone from the part of the eye called the iris, from the shape of the muscle. They couldn't do nothing with that because they were not computer guys. They're not mathematicians. So they met John Dogman, Professor John Dogman of Cambridge University. And they explained what they were doing and what they were thinking. He said, I can automate this for you. And he did indeed, and he is largely considered the godfather of iris recognition. Now, how does this technology work? Just to give you a primer so you can understand all of that, then we'll get into what we've been doing about it. Basically, it involves taking a high-resolution picture of someone's eyes at faraway distance, not very close, and it will find where the iris is by locating the iris and the pupil. It will analyze the image and generate what I call a human barcode. You know what barcodes are. Barcodes are on all the things you buy in the supermarket, but this is a kind of a human barcode. It's very unique and very distinctive. And if I've seen that barcode before, then I should be able to find you. These are the concepts of iris recognition, and this is what was patented by John Dogman in 1994, I'm sorry. Now, the iris, again, has a lot of good unique features related to it. It is, first of all, protected by the cornea, therefore it doesn't wear off. It is the only internal organ that is visible from the outside. So you can't see my heart, you can't see my liver, but you surely can see my iris. Now, the iris is such that it has a lot of information in it such that it's extremely accurate. One iris has more information than 10 of your fingerprints. Imagine that. So the amount of data available in that pattern in front of you has more information than 10. There are far more issues here to give you also. The iris is a very unique organ. It is different from my left eye to my right eye. So I have two eyes, and they're both unrelated, and they both point to me. And if I were to have my identical twin next to me, he would have different eyes. So this is extremely, extremely powerful notions that enabled us to move forward on this technology. Now, let me share with you further. Iris is stable over time. So from childhood to adolescence to old age, the iris doesn't change. So you only have one of your irises or two of your irises, and they don't change over time. Quite interesting. These new features and exquisite features of the iris are mounting up to give a lot of excellent features. Now, on the stability of the iris, I would like to share with you a story. McCurry was a photographer for National Geographic. He went to visit an Afghani camp, refugee camp, outside in Pakistan. And on a rock outside a makeshift school, he snapped a picture of a little girl sitting there. She was 13 years old. He didn't know who she was. He went back home, and he basically framed it. This became the Afghani girl, very famous. No one knew who she was. She was so famous because of the tear in her eye. The Afghani girl and the tear in her eye was a dilemma. Who is this girl? 17 years later, McCurry set out back to Afghanistan to try to find her. And he found the lady on the right. If you take a look at the monitor, that's 17 years later. Married, 4 children, living in the Tora Bora area, totally a different person, as you can see. But he used iris recognition to confirm her identity. And this is exactly the same woman. And he now knows her name is Sharbat Gula. Just wanted to share this with you because this has to do with basically the stability of the human iris. No discussion is meaningful without stopping on Spielberg's Minority Report. I'm sure many of you have seen this movie. Let me just recap some of its highlights. That movie is a futuristic movie where Tom Cruise, the hero, is walking about and the iris systems are capturing his eye and identifying him, suggesting what clothes he should be wearing. Very futuristic and beautiful. Except at one part of the movie, Mr. Cruise decides to hide his identity and take someone else's eyes, which is really a falsity, because the iris is a muscle. And what happens to all muscles upon deceased and death? They relax. So a dead person doesn't have an iris. That's the only thing I'd like to say, because a lot of it is in your minds. What if someone takes my eye? So just wanted to get that out of our way. Now, we have developed a concept that says your eye is your card. And we believe in the firmness of this concept. And we have looked at it from various ways and set out to build different technology to do this. But how come? What do you mean? If you think about your eye is your card, what are the features of this concept, this crazy concept that you're carrying? First of all, it's a convenient concept. We're all about convenience. You don't leave your eye. You can't forget your eye. No one can steal it. And you can't leave it behind or misplace it. The procedure is very clean. You look at the camera at a distance, a comfortable distance of at least a foot. So there is nothing touching your eye. So it's hygienic. Okay? Now, it's very safe. A lot of the Hollywood movies show lasers and X-rays. There's nothing to it. This is high-resolution digital photography, much like the cameras that are taking all the pictures today. It's very secure. No one can put a picture and steal your account. No one can put a video and steal your account. We made sure of that. We patented technology to make sure that this doesn't happen. Now, what we think most important is, in our experience, in hundreds of thousands of our users, they love this technology. North of 94% of all users just love this technology and love to use it regularly without a problem. Now, so this is a quick primer about iris recognition, but what's important now is what we have been doing about this. We've been working on this for over 10 years now, and we have developed much technology. We have registered a lot of patents. We have developed lenses. We have upgraded electronics. We have written software. We have done so many things, servers, front end, back end, to basically start using this discovery called the iris. We started first with border control. I'm sure many of you have seen our deployments in the UAE. We led the world in putting iris recognition at borders. We then moved on to put it in different borders, like in Jordan here. So the use of it now, which is becoming regular, was a pioneering work for us back in 2001. The idea was to stop people from coming back after being rejected from a country. But we've developed this concept of ours much more. Our systems are also used, and concepts and systems and technology used in prisons across the United States. Sheriff departments use IrisGuard technology, iris technology, to enroll prisoners and make sure those prisoners do not leave by mistake. The big problem over there is inmates leaving under assumed identity. So we've developed that concept further and rolled it out there. Close at home here with the latest Syrian crisis, with the UNHCR, we've invented a program that involves the registration of Syrian refugees. And the purpose is to give them the benefits they so are entitled to, and no one else to take that from them. By means of registering them, you know what rights and entitlements they have. You know what cash you give them through, now you'll see, through ATM machines using their eyes. Protect the rights of every refugee and his right to his allotted aid. Now, what we like most about this technology is its accuracy. We kept pushing the envelope. We always push the envelope with a lot of innovation. We said it's time to go and do this into banks. What are we talking about here? Banks are large institutions that have a lot of different ways to identify people, and they use primarily a card. But if we're saying your eye is your card, then we should be able to innovate further. About in 2009, we came up with the iBank concept. The iBank concept is a concept that's very strong, that focuses around using the customer's iris across the bank's channel. And it works by initially registering the person, and I'll show you a video here of a person being registered. And this is not conceptual, these are real. In this case, the person is enrolled once in the bank system, and now the bank knows this person from the patterns of their eyes. Now, after the initial one-time registration, the person is free to go wherever they want in the channel. In this case, well, let's look at their approach going to the teller. If you go to the teller, you're supposed to hand out an ID and remember your account number. But in this case, only thing she's doing is looking into the camera, and the system is identifying her, and she can do any transaction she wishes, draws cash, transfers funds between accounts, whatever she feels like doing. No discussion is concluded without looking at what we have done in ATM, and that's really where the groundbreaking ideas come in. You walk up to the ATM, and what do? You take a card, and you fumble around, and you look for a number. She didn't. She came to the ATM, she looks into the camera, and it knows her. I don't think of anything that can be more disruptive in banking than this. You use your eye with no card and no PIN to draw cash. So we've managed to get to that level, and that's quite an interesting level. Now, I would like to share with you some other stuff that we're working on as well, because we keep, again, pushing the envelope. If we can do the banks, then we should be able to do countries. What do we mean do countries? That means we should be able to give citizens of a country the ability to interact safely with their government. And I'm talking services here. We're not talking security, prisons. Forget those for a minute. We're talking about the unique relationship a citizen has with his own government. We have developed this kiosk here. This is designed to be placed in shopping centers and malls or out in the public domain. And using, of course, our iris technology that's tightly integrated with this, the citizen should be able to come in, identify themselves, and open a portal into what is rightfully theirs. I'll ask one of our team members, Wadia, who has been previously enrolled, to come up here and show us how this thing works. Wadia, please. And notice what Wadia is going to be doing here. Wadia is going to be touching the screen once, and the device will be activated. Took a picture of his eye, and it identified him. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but he's identified, and his government, and this is a simulation again, his government says, I know you, you are Wadia, and you can, what do you want to do? You want to renew your passport? You want to look at your tax records? Do you want to see your vehicle and the licensing issues? What interaction? Do you want to see what lands are registered in your name? And when Wadia is finished, this thing locks up, and no one else can use it except him. And multiple different citizens can use that. Go ahead. So, thank you. Thank you. Basically, this gives us control and ability to do it. But we try to shrink this. We want to get to home, to serve you at home. Now, how do we do this? Let me try to just get this one. This is a bit delicate, so do we have, okay, so now what I'm going to do is share with you some of this. This is a standard technology, like a laptop. This is called a tablet. This is an innovation from Microsoft. But we've tightly integrated our smaller camera. It's called the iSign. Very effective device here. Why would we want to do this? We want to do this because you log onto a lot of things at home. You log onto your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your social life, so much usernames and passwords. And the highest crime rate in the US today is identity fraud and theft, and skimming and all of this stuff. And everyone is fed up of that. So what we're doing is developing a way to enable you to identify yourself on the cyber world. And cyber attacks are on the rise, and using such technology will help you protect what's valuable to you. We start by working with the banks. Let me share with you the view of how banks work. Now, in a traditional way, as you can see on the screen in front of you, you'll be asked to input a username, a PIN, and perhaps a hash number, but in a more advanced manner. Let's say Western type of bank, you'd be asked to enter a user ID, and let me just try to do that here. And then I would do, he says, what kind of car did you first own? It's a Fiat, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. But now he wants something else. He wants a security code. And this is the RSA security code. This is given by banks around the world to customers. The purpose of this device is to give me a number to put in here to conclude the transaction. But to get this number, I have to do the following. I'll have to click this, activate it. I have to put my secret code, and then I click it again. It gave me a number now. Let me see if I can see this. So the number is 555518. And we go. And it gets me into my account. Wow, that's fantastic. Imagine I need one for every account, and I have to carry them with me all the time. And this is if you want safety and security. However, we have done it in a different way, and I hope to be able to show you this now. We propose that you do this simply by using this icon, which is the eye icon.
Please look into the mirror. Thank you for your cooperation.
And it gets me into my account. If this doesn't make sense, I don't know what does. Now, so this is helping you in your own world. The challenges ahead of us are enormous, and we're still innovating. So we downsize this to this. This is an entire computer with an iris camera here, but it looks familiar, right? Anyone, any clue? This looks like a point of sale, the ones you put the card with, except this doesn't need a card. This actually is called the iPay. You can't read it. It's iPay, and it's designed to let you pay with your eyes at the supermarket. Now, so the way it is forward, these are rolled out very soon now. You go up to the till, you buy what you want, and then you tell the thing that you want to pay through a bank, and you look into this, and you're done. So this is this technology available from us, miniaturizing everything. But the last thing I'd like to leave you with is some thoughts for the future, because without thinking in the future, we can't even start to imagine how the world is going to be. We want to push all of that into a very small key. We want the entire Iris infrastructure to be in here. This is a car key. And the cardless, the keyless systems of cars, how do they work? You walk up to your car, you touch the handle, and it opens the door. But if someone was to take this key, then they can steal your car. What we're working on now, and this is still a little bit out, but we're working hard on it, I hope our developers are hearing, is to be able to come up to this and look. And if it finds you, it will open the door of the car. So if you lose this, that's fine. It doesn't matter, because we would have just invented the key that knows you. Thank you, everyone.